The razor wire glinted under the floodlights like a predator's teeth, and Captain Alex Harlan's boots crunched against the gravel path as he cut through the base's perimeter at 0200 hours, his breath fogging in the chill Virginia autumn air. He'd come back from a solo recon drill, muscles screaming from the weight of his pack, when he spotted it. A lone figure, cloaked in darkness, kneeling by his barracks door, arranging a fresh bouquet of white lilies that glowed ethereal against the concrete stoop. Heart slamming like a misfired round, Alex lunged forward, his sidearm half-drawn before reason kicked in. The intruder wasn't fleeing. He was frozen, bouquet trembling in gloved hands. And when he turned, moonlight carved his face into sharp angles Alex knew all too well. It was Lieutenant Jordan Reyes, the quiet intel officer who'd barely spoken 2 words to him in 6 months. "Stand down," Alex growled, his voice a whip crack in the silence. But Jordan didn't move, those dark eyes wide with a terror that twisted something deep in Alex's gut. Not fear of capture, but of exposure. The lilies, pristine and anonymous for months now. Each delivery a silent confession slipped under his door or left on his Humvee, suddenly screamed of risks neither of them could afford on this sprawling Fort Bragg outpost, where whispers of "don't ask, don't tell" still lingered like ghosts despite the policy's official death years ago. Jordan's lips parted, but no words came. Instead, a single petal fluttered to the ground, and in that fragile instant, Alex saw the unraveling of everything. Careers, comradeships, the fragile armor they'd both built against a world that judged before it understood. Alex's hand shot out, clamping Jordan's wrist like a vice, the cool leather of the glove yielding under his grip as he yanked the bouquet free and crushed it against his chest, petals exploding in a white confetti storm that dusted their uniforms like fresh snow. "What the hell is this, Reyes? You think flowers fix the mess we're in?" Jordan's breath hitched, his free hand hovering as if to touch Alex's face. But he pulled back, the rejection stinging sharper than any barbed wire. They'd crossed paths in briefings, stolen glances in the mess hall, where Jordan's laugh cut through the din like sunlight. But this was detonation, a spark in a powder keg of unspoken desires and unit loyalties that could bury them both. Alex shoved him against the doorframe, not hard enough to bruise but enough to pin, their faces inches apart, the scent of lilies mingling with gun oil and sweat. "Talk, now, or I drag you to the CO at dawn." Jordan's eyes, those damn soulful brown pools flecked with gold, searched Alex's like he was mapping enemy territory, and when he finally spoke, his voice was a ragged whisper, laced with the faint lilt of his Texas roots. "It's you, Alex. Every time. Because in this godforsaken place, you're the only thing that makes sense." The admission hung there, heavier than a full ruck, and Alex felt his resolve crack like dry earth under tank treads. Jordan, the golden boy of intel with his flawless reports and easy charm among the straights, risking court-martial whispers for these gestures? It didn't compute, not with the base's undercurrent of casual homophobia, the jokes that landed like stray bullets, the CO's sidelong stares at anyone who didn't fit the mold. But as Jordan's gaze held steady, unflinching, Alex saw the fractures, the loneliness etched in fine lines around his mouth, the way his shoulders slumped not from fatigue, but from carrying secrets heavier than classified files. Releasing him with a shove that was more reflex than rage, Alex paced the narrow strip of grass, the crushed lilies at his feet a battlefield of their own. Months of these deliveries, first a single rose on his birthday, then weekly bundles that he'd hidden in his locker, their fragrance a private rebellion against the sterile barracks life. He'd told himself it was a prank, some straight guy's twisted hazing, but deep down, in the quiet hours after lights out when doubt clawed at his chest, he'd hoped it was more. Hope for connection in a life defined by orders and isolation, where being gay meant double-vetting every word, every look. "Why lilies?" Alex demanded, stopping short, his back to Jordan now, afraid of what he'd see if he turned, the vulnerability that mirrored his own. A soft rustle, then Jordan's voice, closer than expected, warm breath ghosting Alex's neck. "They mean purity, renewal. After everything you've been through, the deployments, the losses, you deserve something clean." Alex spun, their chests brushing in the tight space, and for a heartbeat, The world narrowed to the heat radiating between them, the unspoken pull that had simmered since Jordan transferred in from Langley last spring. But reality crashed back, footsteps echoing from the sentry post, a distant hum of generators reminding them of the eyes everywhere, the prejudices that turned brothers into suspects overnight. "This ends tonight," Alex hissed. But even as the words left his lips, he knew it was a lie. Catching Jordan hadn't closed the door. It had blown it wide, inviting in a storm of emotions neither was braced for. By dawn, the incident was buried under routine. PT at 0530, Alex leading his platoon through mud-slicked obstacle courses while Jordan analyzed satellite feeds in the SCF, their paths diverging like shrapnel. But the lilies lingered in Alex's mind, a thorn under his skin, pricking at memories he'd locked away. The discharge scare in his early days, the lover back in San Diego who'd bailed when the closet got too tight. Jordan, though, was different, sharp as a K-bar, with a moral compass that didn't waver, even when it pointed toward trouble. During lunch in the chow hall, Alex caught him across the room, tray in hand, laughing at some sergeant's yarn, but their eyes met, and the mirth died, replaced by a shared, electric tension that made Alex's fork tremble. That afternoon, in the dim confines of the armory during inventory, fate, or poor scheduling, threw them together again. Jordan appeared at the door, clipboard in hand, his uniform crisp where Alex's was rumpled from the field. "Captain," he said formally, but his voice cracked on the title, and Alex waved him in, the door clicking shut behind like a safe crack. "We need to hash this out. No bullshit." Jordan nodded, leaning against a rack of M4s, arms crossed, as if to shield himself. "I started the flowers after that op in Kandahar last year. Heard about your squad. How you pulled Ramirez out under fire. It hit me, you know? Heroes like you, carrying the weight alone." Alex snorted, polishing a scope with more force than necessary. "Heroes? Try liabilities. One wrong move, and the whole unit unravels. My father's a colonel, Reyes, retired, but his shadow's long. He raised me to bury this part of me deeper than a foxhole." Jordan stepped closer, the air thickening with the scent of oiled metal and unspoken confessions. "Then why keep them? The flowers. You could have reported the first one." Alex's hand stilled, the truth bubbling up like bad chow. "Because they made me feel seen. In a place where everyone's blind to anything but rank and readiness." Their gazes locked, and Jordan's hand twitched, as if debating whether to bridge the gap. "I see you, Alex. Every briefing, every drill. The way you command respect without barking orders, the quiet way you check on the privates after a rough day. It's why I couldn't stop." The vulnerability in his tone sliced through Alex's defenses, stirring a warmth he'd long suppressed, but doubt crept in. Was this real, or just base fever? The isolation twisting admiration into something more? Before Alex could respond, the door banged open, Sergeant Mills barging in with a crate of ammo, his eyes narrowing at the charged silence. "Everything squared away, sirs," he grunted, oblivious, but his presence a cold splash of reality. They sprang apart, Jordan vanishing into the stacks while Alex barked affirmatives, heart pounding from more than the interruption. That night, alone in his rack, Alex stared at the ceiling, the ghost of Jordan's words replaying like a looped tape. Renewal. What if this was his chance, not just for love, but for honesty in a life built on facades? But trust was a luxury soldiers couldn't afford, not when one slip could mean ostracism, or worse, in a culture still shedding its bigotries like old skin. Days blurred into a tense standoff, Jordan's reports landing on Alex's desk with meticulous notes, their exchanges clipped and professional, but laced with undercurrents that set Alex's nerves alight. Whispers started, nothing overt, but sidelong glances in the PT yard, a private muttering about that intel pretty boy hanging too close to command. Alex brushed it off, focusing on the upcoming joint exercise with the Marines, a grueling sim that would test his platoon to breaking. Yet, during prep, Jordan volunteered for liaison duty, his eyes pleading across the briefing room, and Alex couldn't say no, not when denying it felt like severing a lifeline. The exercise kicked off at dusk, choppers thundering overhead as Alex's team infiltrated mock enemy lines through dense Carolina pines, the air thick with simulated CS gas and the crack of blanks. Jordan shadowed from the command tent, feeding real-time intel via radio, his voice a steady anchor in Alex's earpiece amid the chaos. "Flanks clear, Captain. Bird's eye shows heat SIGs at your 3 o'clock. Alex acknowledged, directing his squad with hand signals. But as night deepened, a glitch hit. Comms fritzed, leaving them blind in hostile territory. Panic clawed at the edges, but Jordan's backup channel crackled through. "Trust me, Alex. Head northwest, 200 meters. I've got your 6 from here." It was that trust that saved them, Jordan's hunch pulling them from an ambush that could have ended in casualties. Post-op debrief. Under fluorescent lights that buzzed like angry hornets, the CO clapped Jordan on the back. "Sharp work, Lieutenant. Harlan, you owe this man a beer." Laughter rippled, but Alex's toast later in the O Club was loaded, their glasses clinking with unspoken weight. Alone at a corner table, away from the brass, Jordan leaned in. "See? We make a team." Alex's pulse raced, the dim bar lights casting Jordan's face in golden hues. "Maybe, but teams like us, they get dissected under microscopes." Their first real fracture came a week later, during Liberty Weekend when most shipped out for R&R, leaving the base a skeleton crew of holdovers. Alex found Jordan at the edge of the rec field, skipping stones across a stagnant pond, his posture screaming isolation. "Avoiding family calls?" Alex asked, settling beside him, the gesture casual but his heart anything but. Jordan nodded, skipping another flat rock that danced 5 times before sinking. "Mom's on me about settling down. Find a nice girl, Jordan, make us proud." Like she knows the half of it. The bitterness twisted his features, and Alex felt a kinship, the shared burden of parental expectations that choked like a bad rucksack strap. "Mine's the same. Dad's letters are full of man-up pep talks. If he knew." He trailed off, the words too raw. But Jordan turned, his hand finding Alex's in the dusk, fingers intertwining with a gentleness that belied the storm inside. That touch ignited something fierce, a spark that burned away caution, and they talked. Really talked, for hours, voices low against the chorus of crickets. Jordan confessed the bullying in high school. The army is both refuge and prison. Alex shared the agony of his first love, lost to a dishonorable discharge threat. Laughter mingled with tears, bonds forging in the fire of mutual understanding. But as stars wheeled overhead, doubt slithered back. "What if we're just fooling ourselves?" Alex murmured, pulling away. Jordan's grip tightened. "Then we're fools together." But the next morning brought reality's hammer. An anonymous email to the chain of command, hinting at inappropriate fraternization between officers. The sender's IP masked, but the intent clear as a sniper's scope. Paranoia gripped the base like fog off the Cape Fear River. Alex's platoon eyed him warily during drills, whispers of Harlan's got a fairy godmother circulating like bad intel. Jordan withdrew, his desk a fortress of files, but late-night texts bridged the gap. Simple things, like "miss your voice" or "lilies in the PX." Tempted? Each one a thread holding Alex together. He confronted the CO privately, feigning ignorance, but the man's gruff warning stung. "Clean house, Captain. Rumors like this poison the well." Isolated, Alex turned to old friends, like his XO, Sergeant Hale, a grizzled vet with a soft spot for underdogs. Over coffee in the motor pool, Hale clapped his shoulder. "Seen the looks, sir? But hell, I've got your back, whatever the brass says." The twist hit during a routine psych eval, mandatory after the email storm. The shrink, a civilian contractor with a no-nonsense bob and eyes like laser sights, probed Alex's defenses. Stressors? Relationships? Alex stonewalled, but she circled back to the flowers, mentioned in his file as odd personal effects. Symbols of affection, Captain, or threat. Her words unlocked something, and by session's end, Alex was spilling. Not all, but enough. The loneliness, the fear of being the weak link. She nodded, no judgment, just a quiet. Healing starts with honesty, even if it's scary. Emboldened, Alex sought Jordan out that evening, finding him in the empty gym, pounding a heavy bag with fists wrapped in tape stained red. "We fight this," Alex said, stripping off his jacket to join, their rhythms syncing like a well-oiled patrol. Sweat slicked and breathless, They collapsed against the mats, Jordan's head on Alex's shoulder. "I love you," he whispered, the words a grenade with the pin pulled. Alex's world tilted, joy warring with terror, and he pulled Jordan close, their foreheads touching. "I think I love you too. God help us." But as they parted, a shadow in the doorway, Mills, frozen, then bolting, sealed their fate. The leak was out, the prejudice a live wire. Fallout was swift. Investigations launched, Hale pulling strings to buy time. But the base buzzed with venom, slurs scrawled on lockers, platoons fracturing along invisible lines. Jordan's family called, his mother's voice cracking over the line. "Is it true? My boy," forcing him to lie, each falsehood a knife twist. Alex faced his father's wrath via video, the old man's face purple with denial. "You're throwing away everything I built. For what a phase." The rejection carved deep, but in stolen moments, Jordan's touch mended the wounds, their love a defiant flame against the gathering dark. The climax brewed during the base's annual gala, a stiff affair in the officers' club with dress blues and forced smiles. Alex and Jordan attended separately, but the air crackled, eyes tracking their every move. Midway through toasts, the email sender unmasked himself. Mills, bitter over a past promotion, cornered them in the alcove. "Freaks like you ruin good men," he snarled, fist raised. But Hale materialized, wrenching him away as MPs swarmed. Chaos erupted. Shouts, shoves, the CO bellowing for order. But in the melee, Jordan shielded Alex, taking a wild swing to the jaw that split his lip. Blood trickled, but his eyes burned fierce. "Worth it," he gasped, and Alex kissed him then, right there amid the scandal, a public claim that silenced the room. Consequences cascaded. Mills court-martialed for assault and defamation, his bigotry exposed in emails that painted the base's underbelly raw. The CO, to his credit, called a stand down, addressing the unit with uncharacteristic candor. "We're family here. Doesn't matter who you love, matters that you fight for each other." Not everyone bought it. Transfers loomed, prejudices simmered, but seeds of change took root. Privates approaching Alex with quiet apologies, stories of their own hidden truths. In the aftermath, as winter dusted the pines white, Alex and Jordan walked the perimeter hand in hand under cover of night. The lilies now a shared ritual, planted in a hidden corner of the rec field, blooming defiant. "We caught more than a cinder," Alex murmured, pulling Jordan close. "We caught a future." And in that embrace, amid the echoes of conflict and the promise of dawn, they found not just love, but the courage to demand it, unapologetic and whole. Alex stormed into his quarters, slamming the door behind him, the crushed lilies scattering across the linoleum like fallen soldiers. His chest heaved, not from the sprint, but from the collision of rage and something softer, more dangerous, relief, perhaps, that the ghost behind the gifts had a face, a name, a vulnerability that mirrored his own. He stripped off his jacket, tossing it over the chair, and sank onto the edge of his bunk, head in hands. Fort Bragg was a beast of a base, 170,000 acres of pine barren labyrinth where secrets bred like kudzu, and his had been the heaviest, gay in the ranks, post-DDT repeal, but pre-full acceptance, where tolerance was a polite fiction and suspicion a career ender. The flowers had been his secret talisman, tucked away during inspections, their scent a midnight comfort when nightmares of Fallujah clawed him awake. A knock, sharp, insistent, yanked him back. "Harlan, open up. It's me." Jordan's voice, muffled but urgent, sent a jolt through Alex's veins. He cracked the door, peering out, but Jordan pushed in, locking it behind him with a click that echoed like a chambered round. Up close, in the harsh glow of the desk lamp, Jordan looked wrecked, hair disheveled, uniform askew, a faint bruise blooming on his cheek from where Alex's shove had grazed. "You can't just save it." Alex cut in, rising to his full 6-foot frame, towering but not intimidating. Jordan met him eye for eye, unbowed. "You've been playing with fire, Lieutenant. If anyone else saw." Jordan's laugh was bitter, short as a suppressed shot. "They didn't. And if they had, I'd own it. For you." The words landed like a frag grenade, shrapnel embedding in Alex's heart. Own it. In this environment, where a colonel's daughter got a pass for her indiscretions, but two guys sharing a look got flagged for conduct unbecoming? Alex paced the narrow room, 3 steps wall to wall, his mind racing through scenarios, reprimands, reassignments, the slow poison of isolation. "Why me?" he demanded, stopping to face Jordan, close enough to count the freckles across his nose, a detail he'd noted in stolen moments during briefings. Jordan's expression softened, the bravado peeling away to reveal the man beneath. Raw, earnest, the intel whiz who'd cracked enemy codes but couldn't decode his own heart. "Because you're real, Alex. In a world of poses and protocols, you lead with your gut. I saw it that first day, when you called out the supply clerk for shorting the private's rations. No fear, just right and wrong." He stepped closer, the space between them charged, air thick with the residue of lilies and unspoken need. "And the flowers, they were my way of saying what I couldn't. That you're not alone." Alex's throat tightened, memories flooding. The empty ache after his ex, Mike, ghosted him during basic, unable to handle the secrecy. The way his platoon brothers bonded over strip club tales he could only nod to. Jordan's gesture, risky as it was, had pierced that armor, offering a thread of connection in the tapestry of concealment. But trust was earned in blood here, not bouquets. "It's not just about alone," Alex said, voice low. "It's about the fallout. My squad, Hale, Ramirez, they look to me. One whiff of this, and I'm the punchline. Or worse, the liability." Jordan nodded, pain flashing in his eyes, but he didn't retreat. "Then we keep it quiet. For now. But don't ask me to stop feeling it." The silence stretched, heavy as a ceasefire in hostile territory, until Alex sighed, deflating. "Sit. Before you drop." Jordan obeyed, perching on the desk chair, elbows on knees, while Alex rummaged in his mini-fridge for 2 sodas, the hiss of tabs breaking the tension. They talked then, halting at first, then in a rush. Jordan's upbringing in Lubbock, where football was king and anything else suspect. His enlistment as escape, only to find the closet larger in uniform. Alex shared fragments, his California roots, a mother who baked apple pies and pretended not to notice his lack of girlfriends, a father whose medals lined the mantel like warnings. Laughter crept in, tentative, when Jordan mimicked his CO's drawl, and for an hour, the barracks felt less like a cage, more like sanctuary. But dawn crept in, gray light seeping through the blinds, and with it, reality. "You should go," Alex said, regret lacing the words. Jordan rose, pausing at the door, hand on the knob. "The next flowers, I'll sign them." A ghost of a smile. Then he was gone, leaving Alex with the echo of his scent and a heart pounding with possibility and peril. Morning formation came too soon, Alex barking orders with mechanical precision, his eyes scanning for Jordan among the ranks. There he was, at attention in the intel section, face a mask of professionalism, but when their gazes snagged, a spark jumped, invisible but incendiary. The day dragged, a gauntlet of meetings and maintenance, but undercurrents swirled. During afternoon PT, as the platoon ran laps around the track, Hale dropped back to Alex's side, his breath steady despite the pace. "You look like hell, Cap Rough Night." Alex grunted noncommittally, but Hale's eyes, sharp as ever, lingered. "Saw Reyes skulking near your quarters. Anything I should know?" The question hung, not accusatory but probing, and Alex weighed his options. Lie to the man who'd saved his ass in Hellman, or test the waters. "Just base gossip, Sarge. Nothing sticks." Hale nodded, clapping his shoulder. "Good. 'Cause rumors are like IEDs. Bury 'em deep or they blow up in your face." By evening, the weight pressed heavier, Alex holing up in the JAG office under pretense of paperwork, but really to scroll through old emails, hunting for patterns in the base's rumor mill. Nothing concrete, but the flowers nagged, a loose thread. He texted Jordan on a burner app they'd joked about. "Lily's mean trouble. Ditch the garden club." The reply buzzed quick, too late. Already planted. A smile tugged at Alex's lips, unbidden, but it faded as footsteps approached. The door opened, and there stood the base chaplain, Father Ellis, with his perpetual air of quiet judgment masked as concern. "Captain Harlan." A word. They sat across the scarred desk, Ellis's Bible a silent third party. "I've heard stirrings," the priest began, fingers steepled. About personal matters. The Lord offers counsel, if you're burdened. Alex's hackles rose. This wasn't pastoral care, it was fishing. Appreciate it, Father. But I'm squared away. Ellis leaned in, voice dropping. Flowers, Captain. Innocent gifts, or signs of temptation. The service is no place for distractions. The direct hit stunned Alex, his mind reeling. How? Who? He ended the meeting curtly, storming out into the cooling air, the base's floodlights casting long shadows that mirrored his mood. He found Jordan in the motor pool, tinkering with a generator under the hood of a Deuce and a half, grease streaking his forearms like war paint. Chaplain cornered me, Alex said without preamble, voice tight. Jordan straightened, wiping his hands on a rag, expression darkening. Son of a... I didn't say a word. The denial was fierce, but doubt seated, and Alex pressed. Then who? Mills has been sniffing around, jealous of your fast track. Jordan's jaw clenched, the rag twisting in his fists. Mills is a blowhard, but he'd sell his own mother for a stripe. We watch him. Their alliance solidified in that moment, a pact forged in suspicion, and as they walked back, shoulders brushing, Alex felt the shift, from solitary to partnered, the loneliness ebbing like a receding tide. Weeks passed in this delicate dance, stolen conversations in empty hallways, coded notes in shared files, the flowers ceasing but their memory a warm undercurrent. The base hummed with routine, drills, deployments prepped for Eastern Europe, but under it, tensions simmered. Jordan's insights sharpened Alex's strategies, their synergy noted in after-action reports, earning nods from the brass. Yet prejudice lurked, in the form of graffiti in the latrines, ferries fly home, and cold shoulders from the old guard. Alex's platoon, though, began to thaw. Ramirez, the young private with the quick grin, cornered him after a range day. Sir, saw you and LT Reyes talking tactics. Dude smart as hell. We good. The innocence disarmed Alex, and he nodded. We're golden, Ramirez. Team first. The first real test came with Liberty Call, the base emptying for a long weekend, leaving a skeleton watch. Alex volunteered for duty, citing family obligations, a lie to cover the itch under his skin, the need to see Jordan without eyes on them. They met at the pond again, this time with a blanket and pilfered MREs, the night air crisp with fallen leaves. Conversation flowed easy, from favorite movies, Jordan's Casablanca obsession earning eye rolls, to deeper waters, the fear of never having a life beyond camo. I want a house, Jordan confessed, skipping a stone. Yard dog, maybe kids someday if the world's ready. With you. The vision pierced Alex, a future he'd scarcely dared imagine, and he pulled Jordan into a hug, their bodies fitting like puzzle pieces, hearts sinking in the quiet. But idol shattered with a crackle over the radio. All hands, possible breach at Southgate. Adrenaline surged, and they scrambled, Alex grabbing his gear while Jordan radioed intel. It was a false alarm. A drunk contractor scaling the fence, but the scare underscored their vulnerability, the world outside their bubble eager to intrude. Back at quarters, buzzed on the near miss, Jordan lingered at Alex's door. Stay, Alex whispered, the invitation hanging. Jordan did, the night unfolding in whispers and touches that skirted the edge of propriety, hands exploring shoulders, lips brushing temples, emotions laid bare without crossing into forbidden territory. It was intimacy of the soul, profound and terrifying, leaving them entwined in sleep, dreams woven together. Morning brought regret's shadow, but also resolve. They parted with a plan, document the rumors, build a paper trail against saboteurs. Hale joined the fold, his loyalty a bulwark, sharing tales of his own brother's struggles to normalize the other side. Bonds strengthened, friendships evolving into a quiet support network, challenging the base's monoculture one conversation at a time. Yet the email loomed, its author a ghost, until a break. Jordan's cyber skills traced a partial IP to the comms shack, pointing to Mills. Confrontation brewed during a night ops sim, the platoon navigating urban mock-ups under strobe lights. Mills lagged, accidentally tripping Jordan into a mud pit, laughter from his cronies ringing false. Alex hauled him up, eyes blazing. On your feet, Lieutenant. And you, watch your step, Sergeant. The warning landed, But later, in the debrief tent, Mills cornered Alex. "Protecting your boyfriend, Cap?" Words out. The slur hit like a sucker punch, and Alex's fist clenched, but Jordan's hand on his arm stayed it. "Not worth the stripe," he murmured. They reported it, the CO hauling Mills for questioning, but the damage festered, divisions cracking the unit like fault lines. As winter gripped the base, snow dusting the pines, the pressure mounted. Jordan's family visited, his mother a whirlwind of southern charm and veiled probes. "Such a nice boy. But when's the wedding?" Forcing smiles that cracked Alex's heart. His own call home was stormier, his father grilling about that email nonsense. The conversation ending in slammed receivers. In the midst of it, a gift arrived. Not flowers, but a locket with a tiny photo of them from a group shot, clipped close. "For when doubt hits," Jordan's note read. Alex wore it under his shirt, a talisman against the cold. The turning point came with a base-wide audit, rumors exploding into full scandal when Mills' locker yielded printed screenshots of private texts. Not theirs, but damning enough to implicate others. The witch hunt turned inward, the CO calling in all hands. "Enough," he thundered. "We're soldiers, not gossips. Personal lives stay personal, period." It was a start, prejudices aired like dirty laundry, but change was slow, apologies grudging. Through it, Alex and Jordan's love deepened, a steady flame. Late-night runs where they raced and ragged, shared books passed under bunks, dreams voiced in hushed tones. Twists came. A transfer offer for Jordan to DC, tempting but tearing. A coming out to Hale, met with a bear hug and about damn time. Misunderstandings flared, like when Alex mistook Jordan's late nights for cold feet, leading to a blowout that ended in tears and tighter hold. By spring, as lilies pushed through soil in their secret patch, the base transformed. Diversity trainings mandatory, a gay-straight alliance forming under Hale's gruff sponsorship. Alex led a panel, voice steady as he shared fragments of his journey, Jordan at his side in spirit. Their relationship, once a secret, became an open secret, accepted if not celebrated. The final surprise, Jordan's proposal, not with rings but vows whispered during a midnight hike, under stars that blanketed the Carolina sky. "Marry me when we're out." Alex's yes was a liberation, the future no longer a threat but a promise. And so, on a base once barren of understanding, love bloomed, defiant, deep, enduring.